So we're moving on to questions number 14 through 26, which will deal with this figure which you may have seen before. It's called a hexagon. It's a regular hexagon. It's a six-sided figure where all the angles and all the sides are equal. And as you might have imagined, before we go and talk about that, we're going to talk about this figure where we have a center point, and we have 6 rays that are coming out of the center point, and each of these 6 rays is equidistant from its adjacent ray. So like we did in some similar problems, let's make a note of what the degrees are between them. I'm already saying 60. I sort of assume you know that, but let's do it the full way. Let's remember we have 360 degrees in a circle. And how many different angles do we have here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got the 360 divided by 6, so that gives us 60 degrees. So we've got 60 degrees in each of these adjacent rays. The angles that adjacent rays make with each other in this figure is 60 degrees. And we're going to do something in addition to this. We're actually going to make a little graph up of how many rays we have to move in order to go from, let's call this our starting point, and we're going to be rotating the starting point progressively around the circle, coming back to itself again. So let's say that we rotated this point 60 degrees in a counterclockwise direction, which would be a positive 60 degrees. Where would it end up? It would end up over here. Okay, we would go from there to there. So we could say that this is a positive 60 degree rotation. We could also say that it's a negative rotation as well. So how would it be a negative rotation? Well, if we started here and we went clockwise, how far would we have to go clockwise to come all the way around and come back to here? Well, let's figure it out. Starting here, we'd have to go through 60 degrees to get here. Another 60 would make 120. Another 60 would make 180. Another 60 would make 240. And finally, another 60 would make 300. So if we went clockwise, or in the negative direction, it would take us 300 degrees to get here. Okay, and we're going to do this around the whole circle. So to go in the positive direction from the starting point to over here, that would take us 60 plus 60, or 120 degrees. Or if we counted it in a negative direction, clockwise, it would be 60, 120, 180, 240. Okay, so that would be a negative 240 degree rotation. Over here, if we wanted to go from here around to here, I hope you see right away that's 180 degrees. So we don't even have to count. We could just put plus 180 degrees. And I think you'll see if you go clockwise, it's also 180 degrees, right? Coming around this way, it would be 180 degrees as well. So negative 180 degrees there. And let's finish the last two positions. Now, going counterclockwise from here over to here, we'd have to go 60, 120, 180, 240. Okay, so this is plus 240. Or it would be negative from here to here, negative 120. Hope you see that. Okay, and finally, to go from here all the way to here, if we went in the positive direction, we'd have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 60, which is 300. So that would take us a positive 300 degrees. Let me just kind of write degrees in all of them. And if we went negative, we'd only have to go 1 down like that, so that would be the same thing as negative 60 degrees. Okay, so this is a very nice, convenient chart to use when we're trying to figure out how to go from a starting point and either rotating from the starting point in the positive or the negative direction a certain number of degrees.